So, thank you for stopping by tonight to discuss the Lyricus teachings. I recently checked out the Lyricus website after watching an interview you did on that other show. And I must say I found the website intriguing and it definitely piqued my interest.
Super. I'm happy that you are curious. And thank you for having me here tonight. Before we begin though, I do want to mention, I am not an official representative of the Lyricus website nor am I a Lyricus teacher. I am just a student, like yourself, who enjoys exploring the materials.
Okay, duly noted. So, after checking out the website and reading the Discourse section, which I noticed is laid out in a student-teacher question and answer format, I felt Discourse 5 would be interesting for our discussion tonight. What say you? Are you up for this challenge?
Absolutely. Let's rock this out. Oh, I almost forgot. Please visit www.lyricus.org for all the Lyricus discourses and much more.
So before we begin, what is Lyricus?
The Lyricus website will be a central repository for the key knowledge required to discover the grand portal, the irrefutable scientific discovery of the human soul. This is an exciting extension of the Wingmaker's revelation, and the Lyricus website will provide companion materials to heighten the understanding of the cosmic forces that are at work on Earth. Or, as I like to feel, Lyricus is the foundation which plants the seeds within the hearts of those who work with the materials from which future understandings will blossom in service to the grand portal discovery.
Wow. Great. I am looking forward to exploring it more. Now, let's jump into the first question from Discourse 5. I'll take the role of student and you have agreed to take the role of teacher. So here we go. I was meditating this morning and found myself distracted by the sounds of my family. Is there a technique to block these distractions so I can concentrate better on my meditation?
What do you hope to accomplish with this improved concentration?
I'll perform my meditations with greater clarity, and this in turn will result in deeper insights.
I see. Does any of this deeper insight include the perception that the outer world is not a distraction to the inner world, but rather a catalyst for learning?
So you're saying that I shouldn't worry about distractions when I perform my meditations?
Isn't worry the source of your distraction?
I suppose it is. But if these distractions...
They are not distractions. They are phenomenon of the outer world, vibrations traveling in the ethers from sources you have no control over. That and nothing more.
But these vibrations influence my mind and my ability to concentrate. Isn't concentration a vital component of successful meditation?
Again, what influences your mind is not external vibrations, but your reaction to them.
So how do I change my reaction so I can be more successful in my meditations?
Is this issue only relevant to your meditations?
It's during my meditations that I notice it the most.
Do you notice the fear or stress that the external world brings you as well?
Yes.
Isn't this fear akin to a distraction?
I suppose.
Yet without it, wouldn't you have the tendency to lapse into complacency?
I don't think so.
Fear, and all the so-called negative emotions, can represent distractions, but they are catalysts and instigators of action just as well. Are they not?
I see your point, but these distractions and fears are leading me away from my spiritual studies and cause me to behave in a manner not consistent with a spiritual person.
And how does a spiritual person behave?
They are poised and benevolent. They are tranquil in the face of distractions and fears. They exude peace and exemplify compassion. They express divine love to all.
You have adequately described a mythological saint, but you have not described a spiritual person. Even in total darkness, a spiritual person can discover light. They are truth seekers and they wear the countenance of 1,000 different personalities. They are not truth tellers. They are not truth expressors. They are not saints. They are truth seekers.
My definition is a little idealistic, I'll admit to that, but why is this important to the discussion around fear and distractions?
Isn't your concern related to your view of what constitutes a spiritual person's behavior and your perceived shortcomings relative to that image?
You're suggesting that all of this can be traced to this fundamental misperception?
Yes. It is a significant part of what energizes your reaction to fear and distractions. It is a form of self-judgment that defines your response to the external world. As you cling to the image and behavior of what you believe defines a spiritual person, so do you adjudicate your comparative performance, and in this regard, you will dependably fall short.
But if I'm frustrated as a result of my idealistic image of how I think I should behave, are you suggesting I only need to temper my expectations and my frustration will end?
Why should your frustrations come to an end? For what purpose do you choose to experience contentment and calm? Did you incarnate into this world for the purpose of composure and regal repose?
I'm only saying that I desire to demonstrate spiritual values of which peace and contentment.
Spiritual values are as much about turmoil and stress as they are about peace and contentment. Spiritual values are not monotonic nor are they benign.
But you speak like spiritual values are undefined and encompass anything.
You started this dialogue with the opinion that you were frustrated with external noise that prevented your successful practice of meditation. I pointed out to you that the issue was not noise or distraction, but your narrow perception of what behavior constitutes spiritual conduct and what does not.
Yes, and I agree, but still spiritual behavior is not about anger, hatred, and greed. You agree with this much, don't you?
If you define too narrowly what actions and activities constitute spiritual behavior, you will become not only a judge of yourself but all others as well. You unwittingly close down your interface zone.
What is the interface zone?
The interface zone is the aspect of your consciousness that interacts with the species with which you share a common biology. It is physically contained in your DNA, which acts as a node within a vast network that is ultimately connected to First Source.
And what is this vast network?
DNA is both a network within the individual body as well as a node within the species' collective body or genetic mind. The human species is connected through this network, which is made possible through the DNA.
So you're saying that what happens inside me is transmitted to all other humans?
The interface zone is like a computer on a network. You are not aware of the network unless you are interfacing with your computer. To access the network and retrieve and share information, you must be present at your computer. Similarly, the interface zone requires that you bring your attention to it in order to access this network that spans the entire species.
You're saying that I can communicate with everyone who is human?
The interface zone is the originator of language, all languages. Language is encoded into this aspect of the DNA and it bubbles to the surface of human expression. This means that the human DNA brings language to the species and receives language from the species. It is a doorway that opens in both directions.
Are you saying that I can communicate with my fellow species at the level of DNA through words?
Yes.
This is a little hard to believe.
Isn't this what mantras and affirmations do within your body? Don't these words and frequencies alter you, even physiologically?
Yes, I believe that based on my experience, but you're saying that these same words communicate beyond my body and to the species at large. This is a hard concept to understand, let alone believe.
It does not automatically communicate to the DNA network any more than your thoughts are automatically communicated to the computer network. On the computer network you must convert your thoughts to words and enter them via a keyboard into your computer, and then select the path to send your thoughts to the network.
I understand how this applies to the computer network, but how does this work on the DNA network?
The interface zone is the equivalent of a computer node and it requires software and activation in order to access the network.
And what is the software and how do I activate it?
You desire to know this before you desire to understand why you would want to have access to the DNA network.
My curiosity leapt ahead of my logic. Can you tell me why I would want to establish an interface zone?
The interface zone is the meeting place of the physical and energetic levels. It is the transport of language between the two vibratory worlds. It is the gateway from the individual to the species. It is highly relevant in most biological species, but humans have sealed this gateway through the expression of their individuality and the pursuits of their ego.